in the test kitchen with Pesto.
Hey, Mike. Good, Mike Case. How are you doing?
If you're from the food service industry, you might call him Pesto. For those of you that don't know, why do we call you that?
Well, it's my nickname. You know, my nickname, it's kind of dear to my heart. You know, a dear friend of mine who's not with us anymore, Richard Alberini. You know, I used to own a restaurant called Pesto's back in the day, and one night I walked into his restaurant to have a cocktail with him, and he starts singing Pesto, 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 Pesto. It immediately stuck, and here I am. I'm Pesto still today, 20 years later.
All these years later.
All my closest friends call me Pesto. So.
All right, Cinco de Mayo has passed, but we're going to go authentica, and go with, we're making our own tortillas today.
We're making our own tortillas because we're talking about Mexico. You know, I have a huge interest in Mexico. You know, we're going to be working at the amphitheater this year in Youngstown. We're going to be doing a pop-up Mexican theme called Oaxaca, which is the culinary capital of Mexico.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
And we're not buying the tortillas. We're going to make
the tortillas
because
we're going to set. Well, you have to have some masa. Masa is corn flour. Okay. So one great thing about corn flour is it's gluten-free. Okay. Another thing is it has great flavor. Okay. So there's a couple different kinds. You want to use. You know, we have coarse that looks like semolina, like we make pasta in Italy from. You know, my grandmother used to use this to make pasta. And now we have the fine. This is used more for tamales. So we're going to put that off to the side because with the tamales, you want that silky, creamy texture. But with the tortillas, you want that great little bit of bite, that crunchiness.
These are the crunchy ones.
These are the crunchy ones.
Okay.
So we're going to take this masa, and we're going to start off just like you're making pasta. Okay. We're going to take and we're going to make a well, just like this. We're going to add a pinch of salt. You don't want to use a lot of salt. You know, if you wanted to make this traditional and it wasn't gluten-free or vegan, and these are going to be vegan and gluten-free, you could add lard to this. You know, lard is rendered pork fat, and pork fat always makes everything better. But we're not going to do that today with everybody's new dietary styles and everything like that. Okay. We're going to make this gluten-free.
Omitting the lard.
We're going to add some cold water. Keyword, you want to use cold water because if you use hot water, it's going to grip. It's going to make the glutens, the proteins in that flour come together a lot quicker. So we're going to use cold water. And we're going to form that well, and you're just going to take like the tines of a fork, just like Grandma made pasta. You can work it with your fingers if you want to, and you just keep going around. And we're going to form this into a ball. After it's done, probably going to have to add a little bit more water. So it's a little bit, it absorbs more water than traditional semolina does. So we're going to have to add quite a bit of water to this. And we'll have the recipe for it online for you guys. And we're just going to start pushing it together, and you're going to see it starting to clump up like wet mud, wet sand. A little bit more water. And now we can start working it with our hands.
When you get done, it's going to be this kind of consistency?
It's going to be that consistency. We want to work it though. We want to knead it. You know how Grandma used to have that little bit of a big butt?
Yeah.
Like my Italian grandma?
Right, sure.
It's because she used to work the pasta dough.
That's why?
That's why.
Oh.
And she had a little bit of a forearm, a little bit of a muscle. It's because she had to work that pasta.
Plus she hit people with a wooden spoon a lot.
Well,
and that's not
either that or she went and got the switch off this tree outside. So now we're just coming together. Now we're going to be able to work this into a dough.
Okay.
And you just want to knead it. You're not going to be able to knead it like traditional pasta dough because it doesn't have that same kind of texture. But we're going to knead this, and then we're going to let it rest. We're going to knead it for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to let it rest with a plastic wrap cover in a bowl for about 5 minutes. And you see how that comes together?
Leave it out. Don't put it in the fridge?
Don't put it in the fridge. You don't have to put this one in the fridge.
Okay. All right.
Because in Mexico, didn't have a lot of refrigeration.
No, they don't.
And then after it rests, we're going to form it into golf ball sized little balls, and then we're going to press them as you're going to do right now with a tortilla press.
All right, so we put a little parchment paper down, right?
Parchment paper down so it doesn't stick.
Then we put a little more on top.
A little bit more on top.
Okay.
Now you just fold the case, and this is a great one. You can buy this from whatever your favorite local retailer is, online or at one of your favorite local retailers in the store.
I hope this comes out.
Let's see.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Mike, that looks like a perfect tortilla. Look at that, everybody.
All right, and then when we go over to cook this, because we're going to make it crunchy.
We're going to cook it over here on our flat griddle.
All right.
And just take it off just like that. Put it down.
How you do it?
We didn't make it so quick, but that's okay.
As well for me.
So we'll make another one. That's okay. That's the great thing about cooking. We learn from our mistakes.
How long do these cook?
We want to have this griddle about 300 degrees. Keep it on medium to low, and you want to cook that for about 1 minute on each side, and it'll be perfect. It'll be toasted, and we're going to assemble a lot of those, and then we're going to make some tacos with that later.
That sounds good. All right, vegetables are next, right?
Vegetables are next.
Okay. The tortillas are done. We didn't cook them very long.
No, about 45 seconds on each side, Mike.
You're gonna make me a believer someday.
I'm gonna make you a believer.
I
My
always want to take the
madness.
easy way out. I'm like, they just sell tortillas, right? You don't
I
have
bring
to-
everybody to the culinary dark side. Okay, this is the way things are supposed to be done. There's people that have been making this in Mexico
I
for
know.
generations
And those are
upon
the people I
generations.
trust.
They are. Do you know why corn was cultivated in Mexico?
The Indians called it maize.
They did.
Or-
They did.
yeah,
It's just
Native
because they didn't have a lot
Indigenous.
of they didn't have a lot of topsoil. So this was a plant. Corn grew because there wasn't a lot of topsoil, and that's why on the Yucatan Peninsula specifically, corn quinoa was cultivated because they couldn't grow anything else. It was their main crops.
Take me over to this side.
Okay, so what are we going to do now?
Yeah, we're gonna roast some vegetables, right?
Because we're going to make a great classic Yucatan soup called pozole.
Okay.
So one of my favorite things. So we're going to take this beautiful thing called a tomatillo.
Tomatillo.
So it looks like a tomato, but it's
does.
not. It's like a cousin to a tomate. It's part of the morning shade plants. You're going to take this. It's a little bit citrusy, more citrusy than a green tomato, and we're going to char these because when you char these, it adds flavor. And in the Mexican culture, in the Mexican cuisine, they do a lot of charring, both of chiles, which we're going to do right here with some serrano chilies because we're going to put that in our pozole to give it a little bit of spice. Serrano is just a little bit spicier than a jalapeno. Not going to take your socks off, but it's going to be a little bit spicy. So we're going to char those as well.
Okay.
We're going to put the tomatillos. We're going to add some garlic cloves because when you toast garlic, it doesn't have that rough, punch you in the face bite that raw garlic does. So we're going to toast the garlic as well. And they like to do that. And they even toast the onions. So we're going to put onions on here to toast. And what we want to do is we want to take and put a little bit of a char on here because we love the flavor of the char in our soups and our salsas, things like that. So this is the basis of also salsa verde.
Aha!
So this is salsa
Which
verde.
is my favorite.
I did not know that.
Of all the salsas.
So of all
and
the
we cranked this up, didn't we?
Yeah, we cranked this up. It's on high heat. So we're cooking with high heat. And, because we want to impart some char. I don't know if it's already taken a little bit, but you can see it's already starting to char.
Oh, yeah. So if it gets
once you have
black
some
like that,
char,
that's cool. That's what you want.
You want it to be charred. Now, you don't want it to be so charred that it's like a burnt marshmallow.
Okay.
We don't want to go back to our marshmallow battle from years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just want to have a little bit of nice char on that. We're going to do it to the chiles. We're going to do it to the garlic. We're going to do it to the onions. Then when we come back, we're going to start to assemble this amazing Mexican soup called pozole. Pozole to Mexicans is like wedding soup to our valley.
Oh, nice.
So it's one of those great comfort foods in Mexico.
Very good. All right, so we're about halfway done. In the second half hour, we come back. We're going to do the soup, which is called
Pozole.
And we're going to make these homemade tacos too. You will not want to miss it.
All right.
We're back in the test kitchen with Pesto, and we've done our tortillas.
Yes.
We roasted our vegetables.
We've charred them a little bit.
Charred them a little
You
bit.
could roast them in the oven as well, 550, 10-15 minutes.
And I'm going to season the pork while you put those in the blender.
Yeah, because the pork is a
Vitamix.
great component to the soup. So we're going to take these. We're going
ahead.
to put these, if you don't have a Vitamix at home, because not everybody does, but you can use a blender or an immersion blender stick. So we're going to take those beautiful tomatillos. As you can see, that has that beautiful char, Mike. You did a great job on that.
Thank you.
You don't want to burn, you just want to char. It's kind of like blackening with Cajun food. Blackening is actually a concept of cooking and not just making food super spicy. We're going to add a couple of those chilies, some of the onions, those beautiful charred onions you have, a few of those garlic cloves, because we love the garlic. We changed the flavor of that garlic. We softened it up. It's not as harsh and as bitey as it used to be. And I'm just going to take some cilantro as well, put that in the Vitamix. And just water. Water's like a basis to a lot of Mexican cuisine. They use a lot of water. So essentially what we're making right now is salsa verde, Mike.
Yeah, which is one of my favorites.
It's one of your favorites, going back to the days.
But ours isn't going to be chunky though.
This is not going to be chunky, so we're just going to... And we're going to turn the speed up, and you're going to see it. See all those little black specks in there, all that beautiful char you did?
Yeah.
And we're just going to puree that real quick, and it's done. And that could be your basis to salsa verde. It's going to be this basis, this great soup.
Okay,
Wow,
I think
looks
the
like you
pork
did
is
good.
done. Thank you.
Pork's done. We're going to come over to the stove. Okay, we're going to lay down some oil in there, Mike, if you don't mind.
Okay.
A little bit of olive oil. Turn the heat up a little bit. Great. And just put that pork in there.
Is that enough?
That's plenty. You want to use a heavy bottom pan for this because you want it to be able to simmer, cook properly. Oh, great. That's awesome, Mike. So what we want to do is we just want to lightly brown this on both sides.
Okay.
Okay? So we're just going to sear it. And you want the fat to be on this. See all that cap fat there?
Yeah.
You want all that cap fat because that fat's flavor, we can skim it off at the end.
This is a shoulder.
Yes, that's a pork shoulder. Now, can you throw in the pig's feet for me?
These are real pig's feet.
Those are real pig's feet.
Did you cook these or do they come like this?
They are cooked a little bit, yes.
Well, I need
so we're throwing the pig's feet. You know, we're adding the pig's feet because it's got great flavor. It's got a lot of collagen, so it's going to add a lot of depth of flavor, a lot of mouth texture feel to this. So if you can add the hominy, the white hominy to the soup.
All right.
Okay. We're going to season this with a little bit of Mexican oregano. What
is hominy?
Hominy is corn.
Oh, okay.
Okay. We're going to add that beautiful salsa verde we just made. And then, Mike, I'm lucky enough, I have a little bit of the stock from pre-cooking those.
Yeah, I'm just gonna back up a bit.
That's okay. If you're not cooking with heat, you're not having fun.
If you don't have at least a second-degree burn, it's not a good dish.
Okay, so it's just happy right now. Look at it. I love when Emerald Lagasse used to say that. We're just making it happy, everybody.
Yeah.
So we're gonna bring that to a boil. We're gonna turn it down to a simmer. We're gonna let that cook for about 2 hours, Mike.
Okay.
And then what we're gonna do, we wanna put this top on it, because this is a Dutch oven. So what happens is it's got these bubbles on the top, and that self-bastes what it's cooking.
No kidding.
Yeah, so we're gonna cook that for about 2 hours on low heat. We're gonna come back, we're gonna make some great pozole soup.
All right. Marco, look who showed up.
Lauren, how you doing?
She came for lunch, ended up at a fiesta.
I know.
I smelled some good stuff over here, Mark.
Thanks.
I had to pop in.
A little different than our old days, huh, Mike?
Oh my goodness. Let me get you up to speed. If this is, this is the last segment of the day. If you missed earlier segments, and when there were some things we had to do off camera that we're going to put online, so check out valleyspotlight.com or bistro1907.com because we made these tortillas first.
Right.
From scratch.
From scratch.
Yeah, we did that, and then we cooked those up. We marinated and did the pork.
For the El Pastor tacos.
Right, and then you took it out of the oven, and it looked ready to go.
But then we added another layer of flavor. We put it down on the cast iron. We gave it a little bit of bark, a little bit of caramelization of all those proteins, all the marinade in there, so it gives you some texture.
We did some soup. Tell them about the soup.
The pozole soup, it's all finished now. It's that wonderful, like, Mexican comfort food soup that Grandma used to make, and it has the hominy, the pork, the cilantro, the chilies, the tomatillos, and now, Mike, I'm gonna make you some soup.
Yes, I was waiting for you to say
beautiful chunks of soup.
You're doing a taco, right?
I'm going to do a taco, right?
You're gonna do a
Wait
taco.
for the instructions.
Right,
So we got some instructions. Well, it's
so-
going to be the same for the soup. So we build this beautiful soup, and again, the flavors, the smell, that's just amazing. So now, Mike, you get to build it. It's like you're going to a Mexican buffet.
Okay.
You have some poblano and corn
Should I do
salsa.
that?
You can
What do
put
you
some of that in there.
suggest? Does it matter to you?
Cabbage is a must.
Okay.
Radish is a must. A little bit of more cilantro, a little bit of white onion, a little scallion.
Can I put some of these in?
Yeah, you can put some avocado, of
Can I
course,
do all this
avocado.
for you?
And you can, Lauren, you can do the same with your taco. With your taco, you want to start a base of that beautiful El Pastor taco meat with those homemade shells. Put a little bit of that in there. And then I would put on top of that the pineapple habanero salsa.
Which he said earlier, be careful.
It's a little bit spicy.
He told you to be careful.
Well, if you, hey, you know what happened to me the other day when I took a knee with the shrimp yakitori. So
That was
just
so
be
funny.
careful.
That was so funny. But okay.
Just go gentle.
I'll go easy.
You got the sweet, the salty, the savory. You got all those different flavors. How's that pozole? That's
really
perfect.
good.
Now you can start building a little bit of white onion. I would recommend. I would recommend some avocado, some shredded cabbage, maybe a little bit of radish to give you that crunch and that little bit of flavor from there.
What are you gonna do?
Some cotija cheese. I'm gonna come around Lauren.
Okay.
And I'm gonna sneak around. I'm gonna start building the taco as well.
Okay, I'll switch with you, Mark.
That's great.
Okay,
That's great.
teamwork makes
So
the
I
dream work.
like all the crunchy bits because I like my tacos, the meat a little bit crunchy. So I'm getting all that stuff that is all barky and a little bit dry, but I love it. Put down some salsa.
Watch this.
I'm gonna put down some avocado, a little bit of pickled red onion.
I don't have any room.
You don't have any room?
Nope.
I love red onion on my tacos. So a little bit of red onion. I'm gonna put a couple radishes, a little bit of white onion, and you have to have a little bit more cilantro. And then on my tacos, I always love a squeeze of fresh lime. And then maybe if you want to chill out that heat a little bit of crema.
Scooch over.
I'm scooching.
All right.
So how was the
We're all
pozole?
friends here, right? Can we
Oh
just
my
use our
goodness,
fingers?
this is so good, but Michael, that's gonna.
It's gonna knock my socks off.
Is that gonna knock your socks off?
I'll just take a little bit because I do like pineapple.
Oh
What's
my
wrong with your
goodness,
face?
Mark,
All right.
this is outstanding. I love this.
This is real deal
would
Mexican
take, like
food.
A family did this. It would take all day,
This
right?
is an all-day event for a family. A lot of grandmas working together in the kitchen, or grandpas, involving their grandkids, involving their children, so you pass on that generational knowledge of food. And then nothing better to go with any of this. Margaritas.
Thank you.
We have some
Mark's
great
wife,
tequila.
Melissa, that made those.
made some great margaritas from scratch. They're unbelievable. A little bit of heat in that.
Wow.
You're holding together
I was
pretty
gonna
well.
say, am I holding it together?
You're holding it together pretty well. So
My
you guys
brother-
grab
my
that.
brother-in-law's-
I'm gonna grab a little tequila, unless you want some tequila, Lauren. Mike, you gonna grab a margarita? Cheers, everybody.
Don't put it in the.
Right? Don't put it in the soup.
All right.
Oh my God.
Here.
If it's in the soup, so what?
Right?
Hey, real quick,
Part of
tell
the
them where
fun.
they can find this menu in the summertime.
In the summertime, we're going to be out at the new amphitheater in Youngstown. We're going to be doing a pop-up version of Oaxaca, which is our planned next restaurant in downtown Youngstown. So we're going to be doing street corn, elote, and we're going to be doing Mexican tacos, street tacos. So a lot of fun. Look for us at your favorite concert. We'll be there. Again, our brand is going to be called Oaxaca. So cheers, everybody.
Cheers and cheers to Oaxaca.
Here's to Oaxaca.